Well, it's that time we get the latest update from the world of sport. And of course, Aron Akerejola helps us with that. Aron, hello.
Yes,
what's going
good
on?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon.
Smiling at you and your waistcoat.
Okay, we have quite a lot on the plate. I will be bringing in Ben Wadia from London to actually help us dissect some of the key issues. Of course, the biggest story that is actually coming in right now is the sacking. We had already announced it earlier that he was going to get fired today. The first managerial casualty in the English Premier League. Slaven Bilić has been fired as manager of West Bromwich Albion. The Baggies have sent him packing after their 1-1 draw yesterday against Manchester City, and he's likely to be replaced by Sam Allardyce, Big Sam, as early as tomorrow. Let's cross over to London. Let's bring in Arise sports analyst Ben Wadia to help us with this particular story. Ben, as it stands right now, the news was expected, and it has happened. It's been confirmed that Sam Allardyce might be replacing Slaven Bilić as early as tomorrow. But talk to us about this. Sam Allardyce is out of job since 2018. Ever since getting fired from Everton, he has not worked since then. And a lot of people felt it was strange, understanding that a very spirited performance was put up by the Baggies yesterday, and the players played for the coach. And they thought that was enough to save the job. But unfortunately, that did not happen.
Yeah, I mean, these are the hard decisions that you have to make. And if you're an Arsenal supporter right now, you may be wondering that maybe we perhaps missed out on Mr. Fix-It, which is Sam Allardyce, because he is an expert in getting teams to avoid relegation. This is what he knows. If you want to avoid relegation, you pick up the phone and you ring SAM, Sam Allardyce, and that is what I think he's most likely going to do with West Brom. But it's one of those things where this is when you have to make this hard decisions. They could wait. 1-1, that is a great result against Man City. But if you wait too long, then you're leaving it for far too short of a time for a new manager to come in and change things, because they still have time. There's still time for a new manager to come, because the reality is 1 win in 13 games, that is relegation form. And I think that as good as that result was, as great as it may seem that the players were playing for the manager in that game against Man City, you've got to make that tough executive decision and look at the larger picture. Can Slaven Bilić save West Brom from relegation? And the answer is perhaps no. So hence why Sam Allardyce may have been the wiser decision.
But Ben, we know Sam Allardyce has always been a stopgap coach. He's a coach that is always brought in to actually save face and, more importantly, help a team transition. But looking at it closely, some would say that Slaven Bilić wasn't even backed at his time with the Baggies. He barely made any major signing, and he had to work with what he had. So the board probably might have been to blame for not backing the manager over these years, and he helped them gain promotion.
I mean, that is fair, but again, this is a very hard knock life that is football management. And yes, he helped them get promoted. Yes, he did not have much to work with. But if you're the West Brom director or president, you're not here for sentiment. We are here to survive. So as good as it was that he helped us get promoted, you have to sit down and say to yourself, can this guy help us stay in the Premier League? Staying in the Premier League is extremely lucrative, especially during this COVID season. So put sentiment to one side, and I think the decision they made after much deliberation was, as good as Bilić was for us in the championship, I don't think that he can actually keep us up, because the form that we're on, 1 win in 13 games, that is far too bad. So Sam Allardyce, who is experienced, that's the key thing, he's experienced in getting people to avoid relegation, maybe the wiser move. It may fire back at them, but I think that I understand their decision. Bilić is a great manager. He did amazing things with Croatia at the Euros, but maybe for this job in particular, West Brom in the Premier League, perhaps he failed.
All right, let's move away from that. Later on tonight, we'll be having the Titanic clash between Tottenham Hotspur, traveling all the way to the Anfield to take on Liverpool. Now they are saying that Jose Mourinho probably has a bone to pick with Liverpool, understanding that the last time he was fired from his job as Manchester United manager was exactly 2 years from today. And it was in the hands of Liverpool in that 3-1 defeat he suffered as a Manchester United coach. Of course, he goes there right now as a Tottenham coach, and they've been trading wars himself and Jurgen Klopp. What are we to expect tonight in that very mammoth clash and the top of the table clash?
Well, it's really all about Mourinho. We know what Liverpool are going to do. They will attack and they will look to win. So it depends what Mourinho that we're going to see. Most people are expecting Mourinho to bring in the double-decker bus, the Titanic ship, and perhaps planet Earth and Mars to defend that lead and try and come away with a 0-0 because that is what Mourinho does. He comes away to grounds, especially against top six, with double-decker buses and Titanic ships. So it's going to be interesting to see, is he just going to do that? Or is he going to surprise Jurgen Klopp? But you can already see the mind games that Mourinho is such an expert at saying, now, wait a minute, Klopp, why are you complaining about all these injuries? The only major injury you have is Van Dijk. And you know that Jurgen Klopp, you can see he can be very reactionary. So you don't want to go into a war of words with Mourinho because he is undefeated at this art, which is the art of the mind games. But this is more about Tottenham than Liverpool. We know what Liverpool are. They're defending champions. They're an amazing team with the best manager in the world in Jurgen Klopp. This is about how seriously can we take Tottenham winning the title. I don't take them that seriously to win the Premier League title. But if they go here, perform well, and perhaps beat Liverpool at Anfield, a Liverpool spies that are still missing key guys, it will tell us a lot about Tottenham's mentality and whether we can believe that they can truly win the Premier League title this season.
But it's been a treacherous run of fixtures for Tottenham Hotspur, and everyone keeps doubting their title credentials. But they keep coming out with, if not the best result, but at least favorable results.
True, that is very true. Especially the result that they had against Man City was an extremely good result that really made us actually stand up and say, wait a minute, maybe these guys can do something. But Aaron, we've not even reached the halfway point of the season. This is not a race, it's a marathon. There is still so much football to be played. And we have to see what happens when they now go through a barren of form. What happens when Harry Kane gets injured? What happens when Son gets injured? When Ndombele gets injured? When Alderweireld gets injured? We've not seen them go through harsh times. When they go through harsh times, can we see how we react? At the rest from harsh times, then we will know how good they can be. I can't give them the title for title favorites because we need to see. Let's see where we are in January, February. Then we can see whether we can take them seriously. As of right now, it's Liverpool, maybe Chelsea and perhaps Man City if they can get their act together.
All right, Ben, let's actually start attention to boxing. I beg your pardon, basketball. Giannis Antetokounmpo, certainly that super contract has been given to him. He's acted the Supermax contract, as they're calling in the NBA, to stay with the Bucks for 5 years, worth $228 million. He's the richest in the NBA. And as it stands right now, you look at that and a lot of people are questioning, was it the right thing to do to sign for the Bucks? Are they NBA championship material to be able to win championships? Giannis certainly will want to leave a legacy in the NBA as a winner of the NBA crown and NBA title. Can they do it? And he's staying this long. Was it a wise decision?
Well, Aaron, it is a huge decision, and this is a case of loyalty to one side and chasing the ring to one side. LeBron James, he chased the ring. He went with the man Heat. Kevin Durant, he chased the ring and he went with the Warriors. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, he was facing that thing of loyalty, stay with the Milwaukee Bucks, or chase the ring because the Warriors were hovering. And you think if Giannis goes to the Warriors with a Steph Curry and so forth, they're winning everything. So I think what Giannis said to himself, because this is a massive, massive decision, a 5-year deal, biggest in NBA history. I mean, the last deal that was this big, well, the last record deal was back in 2017, James Harden with the Houston Rockets, which was just $228 million flat. So this, and remember, he's 26. Once you now hit 30, that's when you decline. So he is in his peak years. So I think for Giannis, he believes that they can win the championship. But when you look at them in the playoffs, they are great in the regular season. But when they go into the playoffs, they are lacking something. I think Giannis himself can improve, but the team is not a championship-winning team. So you say to yourself that if Giannis is staying with the Bucks, can he be a magnet that attracts other stars to come and team up with Giannis? Because if he stays there, perhaps someone from another team can say, wait a minute, maybe a Damian Lillard from Portland that say, maybe I want to go over there and join Giannis and not just help him. So if he can attract at least just one other star player, then they can win it. But as they are presently built, I just don't think that they're championship material. Hence why it is a very interesting decision that Giannis makes. Perhaps he believes in his ability and he believes in the ability of his team that they can get it right in the playoffs.
All right, because if my records are actually right, the last time they actually won a championship was back in 1974. And that's light years away. I've been light years up until now. But I try to put it into context. You mentioned James Harden, and I look at it, the marriage did not actually end well. All right, the Houston Rockets might have paid an arm and a leg for him, but ultimately they were not just able to move it into the next gear to get a championship, and ultimately the marriage actually collapsed. There are a lot of people that are skeptical that might just be the road that this will end. We know that he has an option to opt out of the contract after 4 years. So certainly, do you think that will be the case ultimately, that he's just there for the money and the loyalty, like you've mentioned, not to win any championship?
Giannis is different. When you see where he came from, the kind of harsh kind of past that he had, selling watches on the streets and so forth. Obviously, the sort of Nigerian immigrants moving over to Greece and coming from Europe. I do feel that this isn't solely for the money. Yes, the money is one thing, but Giannis wants to win. And whenever he's lost and he's been knocked out from the playoffs, you can see visually how much it has pained him. Because remember, this is someone who has been the regular season MVP for 2 years running. He wants to win. So for me, this isn't about the money. The money is to want, but I think he believes that either that can win or he can attract another star to help the team win the championship.
All right, anyone said thank you very much for your time here on Newsday. Always a pleasure.
And thank you, Aaron, as well, for the
thank you very much.